Alright, so today we're going to go and make a little phone holder. This one's made out of cardboard and it's served me well for years. This phone, by the way, is just a stand-in for the one I'm recording on. This is an old cracked phone, but just so you can see how it works, it sits like that and just holds the phone. We're going to make one either out of steel or aluminum, I'm not sure yet. I kind of like it to be aluminum, so we don't have to paint it. But I don't think I have any aluminum thin enough to make this out of. Don't want to use thick aluminum because thick aluminum is kind of hard to bend and you got to cut it into a million pieces and then weld it all back together. If it's thin stuff, I can just bend it by hand and get the intended shape we want. So anyways, let's clean the workbench off because I was working on something else, and then we'll select the material and get started. Definitely want to save these templates. They're for another project. There's its steel counterpart there. Stay tuned for that one. These offcuts are cool looking, if nothing else. See, men can clean. Oh, and by the way, this normally doesn't look that nice, all vertical and whatnot. I actually just cleaned it. That's why it looks so dang nice. Ooh, look at that. I think that's stainless. Piece of aluminum there. Don't think I got any more. And a piece of steel. I don't really want to use steel though. I think we'll go with these. So the next step here is we're just going to take our piece of stainless steel here and our phone holder, and we're going to essentially cut it open. Pocket knife, come on, get out of my pocket. I know you're a pocket knife, but I need you to be out of my pocket. Anyways, cut that open, cut these guys here, cutting these corners off, and lay her flat. We'll layer on our piece of stainless steel there, and we'll trace that template out and cut it. This is going to have to be that way because there's really not enough room on there. All right, let's cut that out. So I was actually going to bust out the old angle dangle grinder to cut that out, but it's so thin, and actually pretty sure years ago I cut this out of a toaster, and I can actually see that I just cut it with a pair of metal snips, whatever you call these things. So we're going to cut it with that. You know what? This is a YouTube video. We need some grinder sparks. So the next step is just transferring these bins over to this guy, and then we'll bend them. Got a little bit more cutting to do. Got to cut these corners out. Yeah. Things are shooting off everywhere. Yeah, don't step on that guy. Make sure all those little guys find their way into the trash can so I don't step on them later. All right, snap a couple more lines onto this guy, and then we're ready to do some bends. One more. All right, pretty much the last step is bend on all these lines. So we'll just Just take it to the vise here, line the lines up with the edge of the vise, and then give her a little bend. Now it's important when you're bending stuff not to push up here, because we want all the bending to occur right across this line. So we got to push down low here. If we push up here, the bending's going to occur, you know, along this entire piece. So I'll push right there, bam, and that right there is why we use thin metal. You can't see that. And voila. Now we can still bend it wherever we want. Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Ooh, definitely the hardest bend. It's a really long part to bend across. It's kind of hard to get your hand in there. So our little metal piece here is actually starting to look pretty similar to our cardboard one that I've used for years. Need to bend these little tabs in now. Can't do that on the vise because the bending this way, it'll bend into the vise thing. So I'll see if we can do it with some pliers here. Get it right along that line there. And try not to induce any bending anywhere else. Oh boy, beautiful. Yeah, not so bad. And this is why we used a nice little thin piece of metal here. So it's literally plenty malleable by hand. So this is actually probably just fine the way it is. Like the metal is strong enough to where it'll hold the angle I want here for the phone. But I was just gonna go in and weld it anyway, just because I can. I even set the MIG welder up. But I'm actually feeling kind of saucy today, and I think I'm gonna try something different. So I'm gonna take this guy right here, which is just part of the parent material that this guy came from. And I'm going to cut it into a little strip, essentially a TIG rod, because I have access to a TIG welder. And we're going to see if we can just weld, use these little, cut this into thin strips and then turn it into a TIG rod, essentially, and tack these together. So if I have one here, and then just tack the little corners of that guy so they're not razor sharp. I have never welded material this thin, especially not with a TIG welder. But yeah, let's see how it goes. And for those that don't know, this is a normal TIG welding rod. So you generally come in with your TIG, you start welding with this guy, and then you run filler metal into your weld with one of these rods. So essentially, that's what we're gonna try to turn this into a filler rod, a TIG welding rod. Should we cut that in half? I don't know, it's not round. So your normal TIG welding rod, that's a much greater cross section there. This is very, very tiny cross section. It's not circular, obviously. So I don't know. I was gonna cut this in half to make it thinner, but I think I'll leave it like that. I don't know. The weld pool is generally, you know, small, like the head of this guy, small little circle. So maybe we will cut it in half because it's not going to be this. This is going to be too wide to actually fit into the weld pool when we're welding that guy. So yeah, cut it in half. And hope and pray that it's got enough volume there to put into the weld. This kind of sounds like a horrible ideal, but let's experiment and see if we can weld with that. All right, we're gonna go for it. I've never welded stainless steel before. Definitely never welded with a improvised welding rod, but let's see how it goes. All right, it blew a hole straight through it. We're not doing that. This is some real thin material. Holy crap, that works. Sorta. It's a really bad weld, but check that out. Yeah, boy. Never TIG welded steel before. Improvised welding rod. It's stuck in there, but that's okay. That is actually welded. They are not. No, it's not that bad. I thought they weren't on plane with each other, but it's pretty good. We're gonna obviously take that one and shift it over so they're touching. Didn't work too bad. Stop moving. Stop. Whatever. You could fall down then. I can't believe that worked. That's awesome. All right, so here's the welds I just did. They didn't turn out too bad. It's not like a real TIG weld per se, and it's real hard to weld this thin stuff. I was pretty much just blowing through it. You can see right there on the end, I got too much heat on it and blew a hole through it. The rest of it's all right. I wasn't actually like welding the way you should, the way you would normally TIG weld. What I was doing essentially just laying this this scrap metal on top of it, and then bringing the TIG torch in from the top and melting it onto top of the metal, and then removing this filler wire, which we didn't use as filler, and then just come in and put heat on it with the TIG torch, and then melt that melted part into here to create those little welds. But yeah, not bad for improvised TIG rods. So yeah, there's our old cardboard one that I used for years, and here's the new fancy stainless steel one. Obviously not really all that malleable. This one's cardboard, so it's pretty flimsy. And yeah, some good little welds on there. It sits pretty flat. It moves around a bit, but it's obviously not that big of a deal. When the phone's in there, it obviously doesn't move around at all. And yeah, there we go. Nice little phone holder. So now when I'm sitting at my desk, eating lunch and munching on some cookies, and watch me some good videos, or when I'm washing dishes, I can watch some YouTube videos. Yeah, pretty cool. And with that, thank you so much for watching me build my mad little phone holder. I think it came out pretty good. I've never welded stainless steel before, and I've never welded stuff this thin, and it turned out all right. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave some conductive criticisms below. Is it still recording? It'll look weird if it is. Oh well. I'll edit this part out.